For decades, economic power in Medellin has been measured in physical tonnage. The city's industrial health relies heavily on massive manufacturing infrastructure, sprawling logistics corridors, and enormous trade show floors designed to export physical goods. Take the Feria de las Flores, one of the region's largest industrial and commercial events. Over a few days, it draws 90,000 attendees and generates a highly respectable $27.22 million dollars for the local economy. Now, compare that to a completely different kind of export. In January 2026, the artist Bad Bunny performed a 3-day macro concert series in the city. Those 3 days alone generated $36 million, dollars, about 16 billion Colombian pesos. To support an event of that magnitude, the Atanasio Girardot Stadium essentially became the epicenter of a massive logistical operation. It drew 120,000 attendees, pushing Medellin's formal hotel networks and transportation infrastructure to absolute maximum capacity. This diagram illustrates the broader economic trajectory happening underneath the surface. The total regional economy is growing at a steady 3.9% per year. However, the creative sector, which now accounts for 4% of Medellin's total GDP, is expanding at an annual rate of 7.6%. So, how exactly does a city take the seemingly intangible concepts of social media influence and pop music and engineer them into a structured billion-dollar corporate machine that outpaces traditional industrial growth? The answer starts with an incredibly dense concentration of talent. Right now, Medellin serves as the home base for 36% of Colombia's elite digital content creators, operating alongside a highly active workforce of over 22,000 professionalized influencers. This pyramid chart maps out the strict hierarchy of that workforce. At the base, you have a massive foundation of more than 80,000 user generated content, or UGC, creators. As you move up the tiers into the macro and mega categories, the headcount shrinks, but the individual audience reach jumps into the tens of millions. The lower tiers primarily monetize through product exchanges and affiliate marketing links. But as we look at the higher tiers, those simple flat fees are replaced by rigorous, data driven performance metrics, branded content campaigns, and complex intellectual property rights, driving a total market valuation of roughly $150 million. dollars. To manage that influx of capital, local representation agencies like Goldfish and Match Agency act as multinational talent brokers. They apply strict corporate ROI standards to these creators, projecting annual billings in the tens of millions by exporting local talent across Latin America. What used to be considered a casual hobby of chasing online interactions is now a highly structured commodity governed by hard financial returns and calculated regional export strategies. That digital reach actively pulls people and capital across physical borders. Every year, 2.5 million visitors travel to Medellin, specifically drawn by its music festivals, concerts, and cultural leisure activities. Absorbing that influx of tourists requires massive commercial expansion to keep up. The city's food and nightlife sector has expanded into a dense network of over 9,100 active restaurants, cafes, and bars. It is even dictating new real estate models. Developers are currently building specialized short term co living spaces where professional, soundproofed recording studios are integrated right into the residential floor plans. None of this physical expansion happens by accident. It is coordinated by a tight web of public private partnerships, physically anchored by institutions like the Ruta N Innovation Center, alongside the local Chamber of Commerce and the Ministry of Information Technologies. These organizations run dedicated pipelines to transition independent artists into formal corporations. They provide seed capital, advanced technical training, and the strategic consulting required to build sustainable businesses. The physical infrastructure and public policy initiatives have been intentionally redesigned with a singular purpose: to feed, house, and ultimately tax this creative workforce. But the economic reality of 2026 is putting severe pressure on this ecosystem. A steep 23% increase in the minimum wage, combined with persistently high interest rates, is aggressively squeezing the operational budgets for live event producers and recording studios. At the exact same time, generative artificial intelligence is rapidly advancing. These automated tools can instantly generate the basic images and marketing copy that brands once paid entry level creators to produce. threatening to automate the bottom layer of the industry out of existence. Surviving this dual threat requires an immediate shift in tactics. First, creators must hybridize their income. Instead of relying on volatile advertising budgets, they have to integrate directly into real world commerce by building tangible e commerce businesses and leveraging direct sales affiliate models. Second, production companies cannot afford to fight artificial intelligence. They have to integrate it. By using AI to automate tedious editing and logistical processes, human creators can spend their time on the one thing algorithms can't replicate: building authentic, high fidelity emotional connections with their communities. Finally, the cultural infrastructure has to decentralize. Medellin cannot endlessly absorb millions of tourists without oversaturating. The events, the festivals, and the economic benefits must spread out into the surrounding lush subregions of Antioquia. Thanks to newly modernized transport corridors and major logistical port projects in areas like Urabá, rural creators now have the physical infrastructure to bypass local bottlenecks and export their cultural products directly to global markets. The deliberate restructuring of Medellin's economic output proves that the business of influence has moved from a cultural byproduct into a primary, sustainable industrial base.